Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I have been making some lanterns and I've made 3 today so far. This design is one that I've made myself. I've made it in Cricut Design Space using elements that are available in Cricut Design Space, and if you want to make some lanterns the same as mine, you are more than welcome to use my template. You'll be able to find it on my Cricut Design Space profile, and the information to show you how to find my profile to get this will be in the video coming up, so make sure that you look out for that. So I'm going to show you the 3 lanterns that I have made so far. So I have the pumpkin, I've got a skull in the green, and then the one that we are going to make today together is this black one, and it's got a haunted house on it. These lights inside this one I've just put in are super bright LED with a battery pack on them, and they are absolutely bright as anything, so I'm really impressed with these lights. I will share down below all of the items that I'm using, where I got them from, so that you'll be able to get them as well. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into making some Halloween lanterns. The supplies that you're going to need for this project are a sheet of vellum, and vellum is basically just tracing paper depending on who you speak to, but basically it is just tracing paper. So this just creates the frosty look of the front of the lantern. You'll need a piece of cardstock in whatever colour you choose. For this one I'm going to use black, and this is actually an A3 size piece of card, and I'm going to cut it down just to go onto the Cricut mat, so it will be 12 by 12, just to make it easier to cut everything out really in one go. But I have made the design so you can use A4 cardstock if you need to. This isn't very thick, it's 160 GSM, so it will be okay for something like this. For glue, I'm using tacky glue in my precision bottle. Tools wise, you're going to need a ruler. If you've got a brayer, definitely use that. You're going to need a scraper. I'm just using a small one today. I've got a couple of different sets of lights. So these are the ones that I've got from Amazon. So these are like the bottle stopper type, and they're just really tiny little LEDs. There's 20 I think on that string. And then these ones are battery operated, but with AA batteries, and I am going to give these ones a go because I find that these don't really last very long, and I can use rechargeable batteries in these ones, so they just work out to be a bit more economical if you are going to be using them every night during Halloween and the Halloween season. And then I've just got some scissors. So let's crack on with cutting out our pieces for the design. So I'm just going to jump over to Cricut Design Space now. Here we are back in Cricut Design Space, and this is the Halloween lanterns design that I have put together over the last couple of days. So I've done it in separate pieces on purpose, and the reason that I've done that is so that you can use either a full 12 by 12 inch sheet of cardstock or paper, or if you haven't got access to the bigger sheets, you can also use A4 paper for it, because none of the designs are too big to be put onto an A4 sheet. Now the size that it's in at the moment, which is the 41 by 181 centimeters by the 32.145 centimeter size, will make a lantern that is about 10 centimeters wide by 15 centimeters tall. If you want to make it smaller, just make sure that you've got everything grouped together like it is now into one big group, and just use the drag button here on the right hand side to just make it smaller and scale it down if you want to do that. Again, also if you want to make them bigger, just pull it out and make it bigger. So the other thing that I wanted to mention about this design is that the 2 pieces that I'm using here today, the skull and the pumpkin, are both free images, and I've used the 2 free images from Cricut Design Space images because then it's not going to charge you to make this design. So if you want to change your designs of your middles here from the pumpkin or the skull, if you want to and you have a Cricut Access subscription, you can go into images and you can search for whichever image you would like in here, just by searching for Halloween or whatever you want to search for in there. But today I'm using free designs because I just want to make it inclusive for everybody. This design is going to be available on my page. So if you go over to the 3 lines at the top here, you're going to see my profile. Oops. So my profile is here, and I have 4 shared projects on here that I've made in previous videos. So when I've finished this one, it will be on here for you and you will be able to use that. Just so that you know, Cricut has started putting this little A onto community projects. So that basically means that this project has got Cricut Access items in it. You can see with this small box here that it doesn't have that on there, and that's because that was my design. So it hasn't got any chargeable items on it, and this one will be the same. So just come on and search for me, and I'll be on there, and you can look then at all my shared projects and you can use this one. So let's get on to cutting the designs. So everything, as I said, is all grouped together in one piece, but I don't want to use the skull and the pumpkin on this one, so I'm just going to hide those. So let's hide that one, and I think the skull's at the bottom. Okay, so you've got the sides here, so that's the back, that one is the front, these 2 are the sides, this is the bottom piece, and then this piece here in the green is the vellum or the tracing paper, whatever you want to call it. So we need to cut all of this out now on the Cricut, and then we can start assembling. All right, so I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to add it to the canvas. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just shrink it down so that it's going to fit in the window here. And that's what we want to make sure that it fits in. So that will fit in there nicely. Let's pull that down to there. Okay, so now we're ready to go up to make it. So as you can see now on the screen, it's on the mat and it's using the full size of the mat. And each piece has got a dotted line on it here, and that is a score line. So for this, you're either going to need to use a scoring stylus, which you will put into clamp A in your machine when you are prompted to by your machine, or you can use the scoring tool and the scoring wheel. I have got that, so I'll be using the scoring wheel today. If you don't have a scoring wheel or a stylus, you can actually remove these scoring lines by just, let me show you. So on here, if you don't have a scoring wheel, you can just go into the group sections, and where it says score there, you can actually just click on the little eye and hide that. And as you can see here now, the scoring line has gone. Let me put it back, and it comes back just like that. Okay, so that is what the little dotted lines are if you're not familiar with scoring. So going back to the mats now, it's just showing us that we are going to score, and we're also going to cut. If you're using an A4 sheet of cardstock, then this is where you'll change your sizing. So just click on the drop down button there, and you've got all the different sizes. You could even use an A5 piece of card. It will work because each piece is small enough to cut on an A5 if you only have A5. I am going to be using the full 12 by 12, which is 30.5 centimeters square today, because I'm using a big piece of A3 cardstock. So let's start cutting, and then I will come back to you when everything's done. Here's my A3 sheet of card, and I've just popped it down on my cutting mat, and I'm just going to smooth it out gently with my hand. And then I'm going to grab my steel ruler and I'm going to cut it off just over this side. I'm just going to get a craft knife for that. And I will also use this piece, so I won't be throwing that away. Then I'm going to get my brayer, and I'm just going to give it a really good break down with that. This tool's brilliant for making sure that your cardstock is stuck onto your mat properly. Now we have got our mats here on the screen, we're going to want to set up our cutting settings. So for this one, I'm actually going to choose the glitter cardstock setting, and you might think this is a bit strange because obviously I'm not using glitter cardstock for this particular design. However, I have found that it cuts really well and really smoothly, so I'm going to use that for this one. Okay, so here we are now then, ready to insert the mat into the machine. So I'm going to just get my mat and I'm just going to guide it into my machine, and then I'm going to press the double-ended arrow to get the machine to feed that in. And on the screen now it's telling me that it's ready to cut, and I need to just put in my scoring wheel and my fine point blade will be coming up. At the moment I've got the double scoring wheel in my housing, so I'm going to swap it out for my single scoring wheel, even though on the screen it's telling me to use the double one because it thinks I'm using glitter cardstock. But I'm not using glitter cardstock, I'm using 160 GSM card. So I know that the single scoring wheel will be perfectly adequate. So I'm just going to pop that into the machine now. And then I'll press the flashing C just to start the cut. So it's just doing the scoring portion of the design now. And then once it's finished doing the scoring, it's going to tell me that it wants the fine point blade to be put in, so I'll just take that out of clamp B and put the fine point blade into there instead. If you're using a scoring stylus in clamp A now, it will just carry on and do your cut. Alright, so the cut has finished, so you can see that the double-ended arrow is flashing again, which means it's finished this portion. I'm just going to check that it's cut through just by lifting it up, and it has. So I'm going to eject my mat. Okay, so now I'm just going to remove my cardstock from my mat. So I'm just going to flip my mat over, and this mat is broken, as you can see. So I'm just going to be super careful with it. But I'm going to still bend it back from my design rather than bending my cardstock. Got 3 pieces that I've cut, or have I got 4? I might have 4 pieces that I've cut on this one. There is one, and then this last one, so I'm just going to turn my mat the other way around so I've got better access to it. Okay, so now we have 4 pieces cut. Okay, so now we are in the make it portion of the video. So if you've skipped through the chapters, welcome. And for this part, I'm just going to go through all the pieces that you should now have cut. So I'm just going to refer to the screen again. So we should have a front, a back, 2 sides, the vellum sheet and a bottom. So we have got the front. The front didn't cut that well with this card, but I'm thinking that it was because of the mat not being quite as sticky at the top. So I'm still going to use this piece because I don't think you'll notice it too much. But if your cardstock hasn't cut properly along the top like that, you could always recut it on a stickier mat. Or if you want to, just make some adjustments with a craft knife, which I may do later on. So there is the front. Okay, we have then got 2 side pieces, which are these ones, and the way that you can tell the side pieces is they have got foldable tabs on either side and also at the bottom, so you should have 2 of those. We've got 2 of those. Then we've got the back piece, and the back piece is just 1 tab at the bottom, just there. Then we have the base piece, which will sit on your desk or wherever you're going to put it. That's got no tabs at all, so it's just a plain rectangle. Then you've got your nice glittery little house or whatever design you have chosen for the centre. And then we've got our vellum piece as well. So the easiest way that I've found to put together this design is to fold over all the score lines first, and I just fold them over with my hand first, and then I use my little mini scraper to just go over them and make them nice and crisp. So I'm just going to do that with each of my pieces. So just give it a nice fold with my fingers and then go over it. Right, so that is the scoring done. Now I'm going to first of all get my vellum piece, and I'm just going to place it over the top here just so that we can see where it needs to go. So it's got a good sort of about maybe 8mm of overlap onto the black piece of card underneath, so plenty of room to put your glue. So I'm just going to go around the outside of the aperture with my glue. Because this is a precision bottle, it doesn't actually put out that much glue, so it's just enough for something like this. But if you're using a thicker dispenser, or maybe even the original bottle that the tacky glue comes in, just be aware that you don't want too much glue, because you don't want it to press outwards when you actually put your vellum sheet on and push down on your glue. So that is on there nicely. So there is what it's going to look like from the front. So I've just turned that over now, and I'm going to put my house on next. So I'm just going to turn over my house and just dot a little bit of glue all over. I'm just going to line up the bottom of my vellum sheet with the grid on my cutting mat, just so that I can get it relatively straight. There. Just pop that on, and then I've got my little moon as well. I'm just going to put that up there like that. So there is the moon and house all stuck together. Next I'm going to use the two side pieces and the base and the back, and we're going to put those together. So the way that I've been doing this is just getting my base piece and putting it flat, and then just putting a nice line of glue on there. I'm going to do the back piece first. What I've been doing is just folding that nice and flat, and then just pop that on there to line up with the edge, and just give it a good press down. And you can use your scraper as well if you want to, just to make sure it's nicely stuck. And then what I've been doing is just opening that out, and a bit of the glue has seeped, but that's fine because it's not going to be seen. Let's just move that over. So now we've got the side pieces to put on, and again I'm just going to put a little bit of a wiggle of glue down each side like that, and just line up with the edges, and again just line up with the edges and give it a good press down. Everything is nice and stuck. Tacky glue takes a little bit to stick, so it just ends up holding it down for a little bit. So that is stuck down nicely. Next I'm going to stick these side pieces onto the back. So let's just put again another little wiggle of glue just down here, and then I'm going to fold up my back piece, and I'll fold up my side piece and just press them together gently. And then I'd like to put them flat on my desk so I can get a really good press inside there. give it a nice press down. And the good thing about this is I've made it big enough that you can get your hand inside it, so when you are pressing together the bits that are a bit more fiddly towards the end, when the box is more than like 90% assembled, it's easier to do that if you can get your hand in there. So I'm just going to put a nice little wiggle of glue onto there as well, and then I'm going to flip it back onto its back again and fold that round, line up my edges along here, and then just give it a nice press down again from the inside of the box. So now we've formed the box shape, just missing the front. So what we're going to do now again is get a nice wiggle of glue onto this bit and to this tab here. Okay, and what I shall do is get a wiggle of glue on the bottom tab of here as well at the same time. Okay, I'm going to turn my box around so that it's upright, and then just slide in my bottom piece onto there and just line it up nicely along the top, and then I'm just going to flip it over so that it's face down, and I'll put my hand in and just press down along the edges and at the bottom, just to make sure that everything is nicely stuck. Okay, so that is the lantern done. So I've got my other two. So I've got this nice green one with the skull and this nice red one here. So I'm going to put some lights in them now and see what they look like. It's pretty dark in here now, and this is what the green one looks like with the small little bottle lights in it. Let's turn on this battery pack and see what the black one looks like. Wow, that is cute. Oh, I'm really pleased with that. It looks so nice. I hope you have enjoyed this video and that you're going to make some of my lanterns. If you have enjoyed it, I'd love it if you would drop me a comment, hit the like button, and let me know if you've got any questions or anything like that. I will always try to come back to you as soon as I can. So all that's left to be said now is have a great spooky week. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!